Where and when does microlearning work or not work? I had a trip to Atlanta one time about a few weeks ago, and beside me in the plane was a F18 pilot during the war, or even just most recently in Afghanistan and in Iran. And then now today he is a pilot, a trainer. So he travels all over the country and be able to train pilots. So out of my curiosity, with a nice conversation, I asked him the question, how do you train pilots? He says, well, usually you start with an immersive training program. Immersive because you want to make sure that they go deeper, they sink into the information, and then they memorize, they know the rules, etc. and the like. And then after that they go into actual flying. So they have 40 hours, another 40 hours until they get different licenses. They do practical work, meaning to say they apply what they've learned and then do it in the learning process. So first thing, there are programs that works in an immersive way. And this might be a VR, it could be simulation, it could be a gamification, or it might be coaching. There are many other things that are immersive so that the learner can actually immerse and learn the idea and build the skills. On the other hand, I asked him the question, so when do you begin to learn? When you need bits and pieces of information as you develop your skill as a pilot. And he says, well, what happened was that when you're now in the pilot seat, you're actually learning all of the time. There's no exception to this because you can only remember so much. In fact, he says, we go to so much checklist because we can't remember everything. So we go to a lot of checklists. While we're piloting, we're looking at the navigation, we're looking at the chart, we're looking at the GPS, we're looking at speed, we're talking to our conversation with other co-pilots. Simultaneously, we're learning bits and pieces. So I told him about what they do about microlearning. So he says that really, that is the concept of microlearning, they really happen together even in the immersive learning. So meaning to say, there are knowledge and skills while in immersive learning that are also micro, because not everything in immersive learning contains all of the content. There are bits and pieces that you might gather outside of the immersive situation. While you're doing work, which is flying the plane, you're more dependent on bits and pieces of information because now you have the basic skills, or you know how to fly generally, and then now you're learning bits and pieces and you build your expertise over time. So the pilot was telling to me that real sophistication, of real ability to learn, has a lot to do with putting the pieces of small bits and pieces as you mature in your learning process. So immersive learning is one way that perhaps has its own particular place in design, which is our history. And then secondly, microlearning has its own place as well. But they could be overlapping. They could be happening all at the same time.